Our webinar series Evening for Learning, hosted by National Staff Agriculture Extension Management, Hyderabad. I'm Dr. Ahalya, working as a Managed Fellow, and it's my pleasure to guide you through today's session. So the theme of this webinar series, as you know, it is Agriculture Extension, an exciting profession for the future. So across this 5 days, we'll be covering 6 insightful topics under this theme. So last 2 days, we had an amazing discussion. Today, our topic is research and academic careers, be it scientist, faculty, or research consultant. So we have Dr. Sreeram Vishnu sir with us. So he is working as assistant professor at Kerala Agriculture University for the past 6 years. He holds masters and PhD in agriculture extension. His research interests include agriculture innovation system studies, value chains, climate smart agriculture, and distillation farming. So with this short introduction, let me invite Dr. Sreeram Vishnu sir to take over the session.
Thank you, Dr. Ahalya. It's my pleasure to be a part of this Evening for Learning program. Since last, I think 2-3 years, I am also a part of this program as a listener. So I think for the first time, I am getting an opportunity to be a presenter in this great occasion. So without wasting our time, because we have only 30 minutes for our presentation and 15 minutes for our discussion. So I'm just jumping onto my presentation. So as mentioned, our today's topic of discussion is about research and academic careers in agriculture, scientist, faculty, and research consultant. So though the topic is more about more on agriculture, I will be more focusing on the part of agricultural extension, because I expect that most of our participants are from agricultural extension PG PhD scholars. So I would be focusing more on the agricultural careers in agricultural extension rather than in general in agriculture. So we know that agricultural extension, if you are looking at agricultural scenario or agricultural extension scenario, we can see that it's a future focused and innovation driven sector. Because since whatever technological advancements or advancements are happening in the world, we are also be a part of that. Without agriculture, we cannot move forward. So if you are speaking about agriculture, though there are different disciplines, agricultural extension also has an important discipline. So from the social science angle, because we say that agriculture with a human intervention or a human face is the social science. So without that human face, there is no point in discussing about agriculture. So it can be agricultural extension, agricultural economics, whatever it may be. So it gives the human face to the agricultural science. So we know that there is a growing global demand for the agricultural professionals, because we know that if you are reading any kind of news or any kind of reports, we can see that the most pressing challenges of today's world are very well defined, like let it be food security or challenges related to climate change and vulnerabilities, or the advancement of AI and how it is disrupting the different sectors. So whatever may be the sector, we can see that it has implications on agriculture. So these implications are actually with the implications, the demand for the agricultural professionals are also growing, and with that agricultural extension professionals are also growing. And if you are looking at the career pathways, we can see that being an extensionist from the BSc level onwards, we are being exposed to different kind of domains in agriculture extension. Let it be sociology or entrepreneurship, communication science, or maybe management science. We are getting exposed to this different kind of domains of science. So actually this gives a lot of strength to our discipline, because we are learning about the theoretical backgrounds and the methodologies from the different sectors, so different subject domains. And if you are an agricultural extension specialist, our opportunities are wide. So we can be employed in the government sector, not only in the government sector, but also there are different other sectors where we are having a major role, like development sector. We can say that development sector where the agricultural extension or social scientists are playing a major role, and let it be private sector also. So these are some of our opportunities, so that we will speak more in detail in the coming slides. And contribution to the sustainability, as we discussed earlier, in order to contribute to the major global challenges like food security and climate change. So all the discussions are linked to these two topics. So agricultural extension professional can contribute in a big way. So ultimately, what I want to say is that the science of delivery is as equally important as the science of discovery, because there is a tendency to give to overemphasize the science of discovery, that is the natural science, but the science of delivery, that means the social science, which gives the if you are looking at the main contribution of a social scientist, we can see that it is for the evidence generation. So whatever the programs or schemes what we are implementing, unless and until we have a strong empirical evidence at the field level, there is no point in continuing to do it. So we want evidence, and agricultural extension is one of the important discipline which contributes to the evidence base for implementing or scaling up any programs. So let us go by one. So first, let us discuss about the research scientist career path for an agricultural extension specialist or an agricultural social scientist. So we know that for a social scientist, as I discussed, the major responsibility will be generating evidence. So along with that, we have a lot of other responsibilities like knowledge generation, where we want to generate knowledge about something new, like a kind of technologies which are useful or not, or technologies are adopted or not, or what kind of technologies farmers are in need. So this kind of knowledge is required. So we are the people who are able to contribute substantially to this particular area. And problem solving. For example, action research projects. So suppose some kind of issues are being reported. So generally a social scientist or agricultural extension scientist can go there, and he can start right from the start of the problem. So the research problem will be we don't have to search for the research problem or research question, because we have the problem there. So we can start our research from that particular point onwards, and we can come up with a solution. So this is a big opportunity for us. A technology development and its refinement or adaptation process. So I don't have to detail about, because most of our works are or research projects are being reported in this domain. And impact assessment. So evaluation, monitoring and evaluation, or kind of outcome or output assessment. All this will come under the impact assessment. So let it be the technology with regard to technology dissemination, or implementation of some kind of program. Sometimes what will happen, the government will be incurring huge cost in implementing some kind of programs at the national level or maybe at the regional level. So they need evidence to scale up. So they may, I think, some mics are not muted. So they may need evidence to scale up such kind of programs. So unless and until the government gets evidence, they won't be able to put more money into the project. So there we have an important role to play as an impact assessment specialist. So coming to the career opportunities, if you are into the research domain, if you are a research specialist, we know that we can be assigned with some international organizations like IRI, International Rice Research Institute, ICRISAT, CIMMIT. So many of the international institutions, ICRISAT and all, have their own office at our institution is at India, whereas other major international research institutions are having their office. So most of the times the recruitment mode will be an open call. They will notify their open positions in their website. And if you are getting notified, we can apply for that post. And most of the times we can see that they may be looking for a specialist, not for a generalist, but rather for a specialist. For example, impact evaluation, impact assessment specialist, or communication specialist, or maybe policy advocacy specialist. This kind of specialists are required in international research centers. And ARS service, again, we all may be familiar with this ARS service. I don't have to detail about this ARS service. So anyone who are interested in the agricultural research domain or agriculture research track, they will be primarily going for the ARS exam and getting into the ARS service. So there are 113 ICAR institutes in India. Out of that, 74 are agricultural colleges, or if you are keeping the deemed universities, we may have about 45 or 46 ICAR institutes are there, where ICAR is directly recruiting the scientific cadre of staff into these different institutes. Now the KVK, the posting to the KVKs are also, subject matter specialists are also being done by the ICR institutes like IRS exam and the state agriculture universities. So the state agriculture universities, almost 70 state agriculture universities are there. Most of them are recruiting their research staff or assistant professor cadre of staff through direct recruitment process. So if you are interested, we can immediately after having our PG degree. So for ARS and State Agriculture University cadre assistant professor cadre staff, PG is the required level of qualification along with the NET exam, NET qualification. So that you may be familiar. So with that qualification and with some good publications, we can get recruited into these kind of services. And there are some private research and development organizations are there. But I'm not so ambitious about the role of extension specialist because private maybe our role may be somewhat limited in the sense that they may be looking for more kind of guys from natural science like genetics and plant breeding or agronomy and all. But even then we have there is a need for evaluation specialist or maybe farmer mobilization specialist like that. People, the companies are looking for agricultural extension professionals. So to give an idea about which are the different international organizations where we can apply for or where we can look into, this map gives a brief idea the different organizations. So there are many people who worked at Manage or institutions like Manage. They started their career at this kind of institutions, then later on moved to international organizations like ILRI or maybe CIMMIT kind of institutes. So actually, the beginning your career with institutes like Manage is a good option because that will give you a threshold when compared to others for joining this kind of international institutions. So coming to the other programs like Young Fellow program, we can see that a number of international organizations are recruiting the social scientists or agricultural extension professionals. Not only World Bank, but IFPRI, IRI, WTO, FAO. So we have from our college, Kerala Agriculture University, who are working at FAO, who are qualified after their qualification in agricultural extension, they moved to FAO. They did their PhD from foreign countries, and later on they moved to FAO. And the impact assessment and adoption specialist. So we can see that a number of organizations are also recruiting the agricultural extension professionals. So I think our next lecture is more on this particular aspect. So I'm not going to more into this details. So if you are looking at the roles where we are more suitable in these international organizations, so mostly it is about knowledge and capacity building specialist or program specialist, program and project design analyst, then policy advisory specialist. This is an important role, policy advisory specialist, or maybe specific areas like gender, youth development, sustainable livelihood security and all. And later the climate change adaptation. This is one of the area where most of the agricultural extension or social scientist professionals are being absorbed to. Coming to the ICR Institute, so we mentioned about the ARS exam. So we know that ICR has a large network of institutions across India. So if you are getting recruited, so there is a chance that we can have a career in any part of India because we cannot predict where we will be posted. So with the PG qualification, with the NET qualification, we will be eligible for the ARS exam. And once you are qualified, we will be either posted through the IRS scientist cadre, or we will be posted as a scientist or through as an SMS into the KVK system. So if you are strongly intending for a research career, I would suggest that there are some certain skills what we need. So there is a strong backing in research methodologies. This is the first and foremost qualification or skill that you may have to have in your with you if you are interested in the research track, because anyway we have to do research with regard to different aspects. So research methodology is the fundamental, and data analysis and data visualization. This is some of the and another area where we are we have to put more focus on. The data analysis part we may be more looking into, because the qualitative and quantitative data analysis, that maybe we may get some kind of training during our PG or PhD programs. But I am not sure about the kind of data visualization exposure, because that is also an emerging area where we can play an important role. Because there are many of the organizations are calling positions for a digital storyteller. So that means they need a specialist where we want to highlight the important achievements of the specialist as a digital story. So you need to be a digital data visualization specialist in that particular for fitting into that particular area. And scientific writing and grant proposal preparation skills. This is another area where we need competency. So we may have some exposure to doing our PG or PhD research programs, but apart from that, grant writing is a separate kind of skill that we need to develop. There are different platforms which offer the grant proposal writing training programs, like Rising Scholars. That is an important platform where you can get enrolled into, and that's a free open source platform. Or otherwise, you can have many other platforms. Paid platforms are there, like a Coursera, edX, where we can get paid courses for the grant proposal preparation and all. So that is an important skill that we need to develop right from our PG stage itself. And networking and collaboration, of course, and specialization in particular domains. So if you are specialized in a digital agriculture, then when the international organizations are calling for some that kind of particular roles, so you can apply for that and you will be fitting into that role very suitably. So if you are looking at the pros and cons of this particular research tenure career track, you can see that almost you will be offered a stable job with access to resources, and you can directly contribute to, or you can be a part of the many of the national kind of programs and policy making. Whereas the challenges include the competitive entry, because the exams like IRS are very competitive in nature. So we need to compete at the national level. So, and bureaucratic hurdles. Sometimes actually the IRS exam cycle you may be knowing that almost 8 months on an average it will take. So annually once we can say that it will be, the call will be coming and we have to apply for that, and 3-stage recruitment process will happen. So we have to remain patient. Sometimes it may go long without giving any reason. So we have to remain patient and do our work continuously. Along with our PhD work, we have to prepare for the exam, and we need to continue our preparation. So that may be a difficulty. And the nature of the tenure in the international organizations, that may be also a little bit challenging, because they may be offering you a contract kind of tenure. So that may not be permanent, but still, once you are having that kind of exposure, you will get a chance to continue your career in different such kind of organizations. And the second career path that we are seeing is the faculty career path. So that also we are most familiar with, like our assistant professor cadre recruitment in different state agriculture universities. So there you will be, being in the state agriculture universities will give you an immense task along with opportunities. So both will be there. So it will be your responsibility to balance the task and the opportunities. So task will be, you will be a multitasker. You have to be a multitasker, because the 3 domains we need to perform, like research, teaching, and extension. The 3 activities we need to do in a balanced way. At the same time, we may be given some extracurricular activities like related to student tour programs, or like NSS, or some extra career guidance. All these programs will come. So we need to know how to balance our work life. And we will be also getting an opportunity to directly contribute to the ground level extension activities if you are being in a state agriculture university. So the major employers will be agricultural universities across India and colleges under the ICAR deemed universities. So I think ICAR deemed universities, the recruitment is through ARS exam. And the private agricultural colleges, they are also looking for agricultural professionals. Now, a lot of agricultural colleges in the private domain are coming in different states. So they are also in good need of agricultural extension professionals. So the skills required are our subject expertise. So we need to have expertise in the different domains. Like you may be in your PG or PhD program, you may be specializing in a particular domain. But when you are coming to the teaching track, we need to have this expertise in the different domains. What we are learning at our BSc graduation level, like you need to be a specialist in the sociology. At the same time, you need to be a specialist in the communication science, or maybe entrepreneurship, because we need to deal different courses to the BSc AG students, or we may have to guide our PG or PhD scholars. And the pedagogical skills. So we need to, usually what happens, we will be experts in our subject domain, but we may not be experts in transferring or teaching. We may not be experts in the teaching skills. So that we need to develop if you are in a teaching profession. And mentoring ability, definitely you need to mentor students, and balancing the research, teaching and extension. That will be the major task if you are in the teaching career track. Coming to the pros and cons, you will be getting an opportunity to directly influence or impact the next generation professionals, and you will be getting an opportunity. Some kind of academic freedom will be there in state agriculture universities when compared to ICR system. So if you will get an opportunity to more look into the local level issues and directly influence the farmer's life, because we will get a better chance to interact or work at the local level if you are being employed in a state agriculture university. But the challenges will be how to balance our work life. And in the private agricultural colleges, the contract tenure and pay packages may not be that much competitive. So there may be some kind of difficulties you may face. So even though it may be difficult at the first stage, or maybe at your beginning of your career, if you are having that experience later on, you can switch to other, you can see for roles in the government sector or maybe in the development sector. So the third career track that we are discussing today is the research consultant track. So here you may be familiar with, there are different NGOs or maybe different community-based organizations or development organizations may be there. So don't think that it is only local level organizations, even international organizations are there. So if you are interested, if you are strongly interested in contributing something to the ground level or to the farmer field level or working with them, so you may be more fitting into this role as a research consultant. So even after finishing my PhD, I also worked for a short tenure as a research consultant with Center for Research on Innovation and Science Policy, Hyderabad. So at that time, we got an opportunity. I got an opportunity to work at the ground level. We will be getting some projects from the international organizations like IRI and CIMIT. So, for example, I have given an example here. So actually, the IRI has developed a new variety called Saubhagya. That's a new rice variety, a drought-tolerant rice variety. So actually, they disseminated the technology to different villages in Orissa and Uttar Pradesh. So as a research consultant, we got that assignment. So our task was to go to the field level and see the dissemination mechanisms, how the new variety is being disseminated among the farmers, and what kind of incentives farmers are in demand for adopting that variety. So we need to go to the field level and interact with the farmers and see how the things are working. So that may be a challenging task because we may not be familiar with, that's not a familiar area. I am from Kerala, so we need to learn the local language. We need to interact with the farmers, and we need to know the local systems and local practices, adapt the cultivation practices and all. So all together, it was a different task and a challenge. But we can learn much more things from that experience. So as I mentioned, that different international organizations like FAO, IFAD, World Bank, all these organizations are offering career for a research consultant, and NGOs and development agencies are there. There are many NGOs in India which are working at the very premier NGOs like Pradhan or maybe MSSRF, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation. These are some of the prominent NGOs, or BAIF, BAIF. So all these are offering career opportunities to the agricultural extension professionals, and even some private consulting firms are there. And the nature of the skills what you require may be the subject matter expertise and project management, because when you are employed in some kind of developmental agencies, they may have to implement some kind of projects. So we need to be a project management specialist by default, and excellent communication and report writer. So you should be a fast learner, because as I mentioned earlier, we may have to work with the different systems which we are not familiar with. So there we have to learn the things at a faster pace. And fundraising and proposal development. When compared to the other two career tracks, we need to know how to raise the funds, because NGOs may be self-sustaining, because for their operation they have to mobilize funds from the different funding sources or maybe CSR funds. So as an employee of such kind of organizations, they may be expecting you to be a fundraiser. So you need to know how to raise the funds. You need to how to channelize the CSR funds for the particular NGO or particular developmental agency, and adaptability to different project cultures. So, for example, we may be having a strong background in the agriculture or agriculture extension, but if you are going to work with an NGO, their work profile may be entirely different. For example, if you want to work with MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, they are working. Their major domain of activities are in biodiversity conservation and management. So we may not have such kind of exposure. So we have to learn the things. What are the things happening in the biodiversity management or maybe citizen science? Then only we can be a part of the project and we can contribute to the project in a good way. So the challenges, the pros and cons of being in the developmental agency kind of career may be the flexibility. So you can, once you are employed in that particular NGO, that will make you more demanding in the other NGOs as well, because your experience will be counted. Because if you are working at the ground level, that will give you immense experience and exposure to the diverse projects, and there may be a higher earning potential if you are associated with some international developmental agencies. The challenges can be income instability, because as I mentioned, the NGOs are mostly self-sustaining. Sometimes they may be meeting the salary from the project funds. So unless and until they have good projects, you can face some income instability and constant need for networking and reputation building. So in order to get better funding and better working opportunities, we need to collaborate with other NGOs or other developmental agencies. So that may be more demanding from your side. And fourth track, what we are discussing here is the management track. So management track is particularly after your PG program. I would suggest not after PhD, but after your PG program, you can switch your track to the management track if you have not changed after your BSc program. So you can appear for the CAT exam and you can apply for the different management, agri-business management degree offering institutions like IIMs, IRMA, even Manage, NIAM, Vamnicom. That's an institute which is offering management, agri-business management in cooperative management. So these are some of the opportunities what we are having. So particularly if you are interested in having your career in some corporate sector, if you are dreaming of a corporate job, then this kind of switching may be essential. So you can land in a high paying job, but if you are interested in the domains like marketing, finance, supply chain management, entrepreneurship, and with a dream in the corporate career, then this kind of management track will be the most suitable track for you. So if you are looking at the common competencies which are required across all the career paths, we can generally categorize into these four skills, like research and analytical skills. So this is required not only for a research career track, but also for a faculty, means a assistant professor cadre of staff, because at that stage also we need to be a researcher. And even working with the developmental agencies, you need to do research for their activities. And communication skills, not only the written communication skills, but also the oral communication and the making the policy briefs or communicating with farmers. So you need to have different communication skills. And networking skills like collaborations, how we can collaborate with the different agencies or different funding agencies. Also, that may be an important task, or that may be an important skill that we need if you are irrespective of your career track. Then adaptability and lifelong learning. This is the most important thing I would rate among all this four, because unless and until we are learners throughout our career, we cannot improve. So we need to keep updated. What are the things which are happening in the field of agricultural extension or related fields like technology or maybe artificial intelligence? Then only we can contribute to our research or academic careers in a fruitful way. So how to choose a right career track? That may be a question that may be challenging, that may be coming in front of you. So you should ask these three questions to you. Do I want a long-term stability or flexible career? So if you're interested to have a long-term stability career, then better you should choose for some government kind of career like ARS exam or state agriculture university kind of careers. Or if you are willing to be more flexible, then you can aim for international organizations or maybe NGOs. And the second question is, am I ready for facing the competitive exams? Okay, so some people will be more interested to do more research activities while doing their PG and PhD programs. So they may be more focusing on their academics rather than the competing for the different competitive exams. So for you, you should ask at what stage I am ready for facing these competitive exams. And do I prefer a deep long-term research or providing expertise? So what kind of contribution you want to make, be an agricultural extension specialist? Do you want to contribute as a researcher, or do you want to contribute as a extension service provider? Like that, we need to define our priorities. Then we will be able to find answers to the research questions regarding our research career. So ultimately, being a specialist is the most important thing, because nowadays we may have a lot of specialists in agricultural extension, but having your specialization in a particular domain will make you more valued. For example, if you are going to visit a doctor, so you will be seeing that for a general physician, you may be paying a fees for visiting him. But if you want to visit a specialist like a neuro specialist or psychiatrist, you need to pay some extra because they have some specialization. So in that regard, when we are specialized in some particular domain, you will be valued more or you will be paid more. So always try to have or develop specialization in some advanced field. So here I just try to portray what are the different employment opportunities in different sectors, right from the end of your BSc Agri program or from the MSc PhD or MBA or self-employment opportunities. So you can have an idea. This is self-explanatory actually. A recent blog in ASA, Agricultural Extension in South Asia, published in this regard. Actually, that speaks much more about the discussion of our today's discussion, because Dr. Archana, she is working in the developmental extension sector. So actually, she is telling about the importance of developing our competency in some specialized field like value chain development or FPO facilitation. I forgot to mention FPO is an important area where we can contribute immensely, because even the government is promoting the farmer producer organizations throughout the country in a big way. So as a CEO, as an FPO, or maybe a project consultant, we can play a big role. So you can just refer to this blog, so you will get a better idea what she is speaking about. So ultimately, she is also speaking about the importance to develop our skills or competencies in a specialized field. So I think I should stop here because my time is allotted is over now. So ultimately, what I want to say is, being in the agricultural extension, we have bright futures, but for having that bright future, we should always try to identify which career track we are interested in. That is the most important thing. And then within that career track, you should be a specialist. You should not be a generalist. So that's my final word. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such an informative session on our research and academic careers. So the participants, if you have any doubts regarding the session, you can keep in chat box, and also you can raise your hand. And if you want to talk with the speaker also, you can unmute yourself and talk. So Deb Subrata is asking.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, this in-depth presentation. I have been into aquaculture domain for almost 15 years now. After I done my master's in marine science, I would be interested to learn the route forward with my profession. Yeah, I request participants to ask the questions related to the session. Yeah. So he's asking about aquaculture, sir, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that means he's already specialist in a particular domain. So
Yes,
he
yes.
can think about, then he has to identify in which track he's more interested in, like whether he's interested to go into research. I think with his experience, he may be more able to contribute as a service provider rather than as a researcher. Even researcher is good for him. As a service provider, he can shine in a better way, because with this immense experience, he can contribute like he can start his own enterprise, or maybe in the development sector also he can contribute. Like he can give training to the farmers. Like that, he can different ways he can contribute.
Yes. Yeah, participants, if you still have any questions, you can keep in chat box and also you can raise your hand.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, myself Kajal Soni. Right now, I am manage intern.
Yeah.
Sir, I completed my PG. My question is basic, like whatever I did in my PG is a quantitative research. So you discussed about whatever skill is needed. So it is a strong research methodology. So, sir, in a qualitative research, what strong research skills we should have or we should follow? Sir, just in brief, you can tell me about this.
So your question is about the kind of qualitative research methodology skills needed, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So actually, if you are speaking about the qualitative research methods, there are different things are there, like right from the start of grounded theory, then content analysis, then policy analysis, or maybe what we can say, thematic analysis. These are some of the things which we can acquire our competency. Most of the things, usually, if you are looking at the kind of qualitative research questions, what they are trying to address, most of them may be addressing the research question from a quantitative point of view. They may not be able to give a broader background of what is happening, because in the quantitative research, what we will do, we will identify some certain variables, and we will try to see how certain these variables are contributing to the technology adoption, for example. But then we will be working out some kind of significance levels and all. But we will be missing the broader picture there, because why certain farmers are doing so, or why certain farmers are not doing so. So the broader picture, if you want to understand, you need to support your quantitative methods or quantitative results with the qualitative background. So that will say the entire story. So that kind of, so these are some of the things what we can look into, like methodologies like thematic analysis or content analysis will help us to bring out the complete story.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, what advice would you give to someone who is still confused whether to choose agriculture extension as their profession? Because this program is also for the UG students. So, yeah.
Agriculture extension, see, there are two things. Is it a matter of your chance? Is it a matter of chance, or is it a matter of choice? So if it is a matter of choice, there won't be any confusion, because you are into the agriculture extension with your choice. So you are coming into and you know what you can do or what you will do after choosing the agriculture extension profession. But if you are coming by chance, I would say that it's a bit trickier, because then you have to figure out how in which way you can contribute or where you can fit into. So many times that happens, because people will come into the extension thinking that it is an easy subject, or we can do. There are many students that I have seen. They will come into the extension thinking that, okay, we can do extension PG program in extension. Along with that, we can go for civil service preparation. So what they are thinking is that, okay, we need only little time for PG preparation. So meanwhile, we can contribute more time for civil service preparation. So that is okay, but such kind of approaches, you are not going to contribute in a big way to the profession. So first of all, we should define whether my choice of agriculture profession is it a matter of chance or a choice. So if it is a matter of choice, then definitely we can see that, okay, these are the domains, like whether I should whether my role as a scientist will fit more, or whether I can shine as a tutor more, like a teacher more, or in the development sector, whether I am interested to contribute more. There are many people who are willingly going to the developmental sector, because Even after our RAVE program, the RAVE will be for all the agriculture graduates. So at the end of the RAVE program, they will be having some kind of affiliation for the affinity towards the developmental sector. So right after their BSc program, they will jump into the developmental sector after their PG program. So identifying your priority will be, I think, more important if it is a matter of choice.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So one more question. Lakshmi is asking, I'm currently in the first year of postgraduate research and would
Yeah, that's an important question. Yeah.
profile.
Yeah. That's an important question. Actually, I missed that sharing information about the kind of publication aspects during my talk. So if you are interested to be a researcher, then having good number of publications right from the stage of your PG program is very important. So you may be thinking what I can do at the PG level. So there are different techniques we can publish the research articles right from the stage of our PG level, because we may have to deliver some credit seminars. So for delivering the credit seminar, we may be thoroughly studying some particular area. So in that area, you can start writing the review articles using systematic literature review or bibliometric analysis. There are different techniques are there. So using these techniques, you can start writing the research articles. So for if you are confused about how to learn these kind of techniques, there are enough number of resources are available in the YouTube, free of cost, or else you can just Google it. You can find many paid courses. Paid means paid at a nominal charge. So that are there at the platforms like Coursera, edX and all. So with that, you will get an idea how to write a review article or a bibliometric article. So you can start from there, then try to publish in good journals. That is also an equally important concern, because many times what we will do, we will somehow under the publication pressure, we may be interested in some career in assistant professor cadre of career. So in order to get in order to get into that career, we will publish in some journals which may not be good enough. So we don't fall into that prey of publishing in bad journals like predatory journals and all. So try to publish in good journals. At least it is Scopus indexed. See that it is Scopus indexed. There are many Scopus indexed journals, though even though they don't have good impact factor, they will develop an impact factor at a later stage. But having the Scopus index itself is an indication that it is a good journal. So before selecting your journal, please make sure that it is Scopus indexed. NAS rating, I won't suggest, because even within the NAS rating, there are some kind of games are there. So NAS rated journals are good journals are there. But even if you are interested in a NAS rated journal, try to see that it is a good NAS rated journal, more than 6 maybe. Otherwise, try for publishing in a Scopus indexed journal, even though it is having no impact factor, it will have an impact factor at a later stage, but it will help you. It will actually help you to develop your writing skills. I think
Yeah, okay, sir.
raised her hand. Some
Yeah,
question.
Akanksha, please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir. This is Akanksha Joshi, currently working as a managed intern. I am a PhD scholar right now. I'm currently in the 6th semester, and I want to know about the opportunity which we have as an extension student or extension scholar in the private sector. Apart from what we know, like government sectors, national, international, but what are the opportunity we have in private sector? Generally, private sector don't recognize our skills.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, the private sector, the different, we know that there are different input companies are there, like seed companies, fertilizer companies, or maybe different agricultural input companies are there. So this kind of companies are requiring knowledge development cadre of stuff. Like they need to, suppose they want to transfer some kind of technology to the farmers. So they don't know how actually they can do it, or how to mobilize a group of farmers, or how can they make the farmers adopt that particular technology. So in that capacity, they need some kind of staff who are able to help them with regard to group mobilizer or maybe knowledge development professionals. So actually, as I mentioned in my presentation, with regard to the agricultural extension professionals, I have not seen, from my experience, I have not seen much opportunities in the private sector for the agriculture extension. Maybe developmental sector, we can compensate with that. But if you are looking at the exclusively at the private sector, this may be some of good choices, or maybe some companies which are doing in things, areas like AI, artificial intelligence, or climate smart agriculture. They may be doing some work. So they also need agriculture extension professionals. For example, here in Kerala, where I'm working, there is a private startup. It's not a company, it's a private startup called New Biome Labs. So what they are doing is they are actually developing an AI platform for coffee farmers. So presently, what they are trying to do is they want to know what the farmers are doing with regard to the cultivation practices in coffee in this particular region. Where I'm working is a high range zone. So they want agriculture extension professionals. They are recruiting agriculture extension professionals. So the role of the professional will be going to the farmers, and they have to identify what are the practices farmers are doing. And actually, they are trying to promote the coffee grown here as a carbon neutral coffee. So first they want to identify what kind of practices farmers are doing. Are they doing it in a climate smart way? Then only they can go for branding. So in that capacity, they need agriculture extension professionals, or maybe like companies like which are specialized in technologies like drone technology. There, our expertise is much required. So I think we need to search a little bit when compared to the other two sectors, because our roles will be more specialized in the private sector when compared to the other two sectors. But still, they are there, I think. Yeah, there is some question.
Thank you, sir.
The chat box. There are many companies having specialty in polyhouse farm setup and shaded house setup. Appoint agricultural student. This sentence is
He's
locally
advertising,
appointed
sir.
sometimes. It has been installed. Starting salary offered is approximately 2,500 per month. Yeah, this is another area where that greenhouse farming or polyhouse farming. So there are many people who are employed. I think this is for a general agriculture students. They will be appointing general agriculture student immediately after your BSc Agri program. You may be getting in the opportunity. But the thing is that once you are familiar with the field, once you are having some skills in that particular field, then there may be different companies. For example, the place I am working, there is a project called Center of Excellence. It's a Indo-Dutch project. So under the project, we are actually doing the high-tech farming. There are polyhouses are there, and we are managing almost 8 polyhouses. So I am also a part of that project. So we need some kind of the staff who are qualified BSc Agriculture. So immediately after their BSc Agri graduation, they will be employed as technical supervisors. But once they are employed and once they have the experience, work experience at least for 1 to 2 years, then they can switch their career to, there are different companies which are specialized in the polyhouse farming. So easily they will get employed because you are developing your competency in a very specialized area. So none of the agriculture universities are having package of practices for cultivation under polyhouses. All are for open production systems. So if you are having developed your competency for polyhouse farming, then there may be different companies which are working in India or abroad who are willing to pay thrice or 4 times what you are presently getting. So that may not be a challenge.
So thank you, sir. So we are from 4:45 to 5:30. We have one more session with one more speaker. So yes, the participants, if you still have any question regarding this session, you can contact the speaker. The speaker details are given in the chat box. And also, if you want to watch this webinar again, that YouTube link also in this webinar. So before we are going to start next part of the webinar, I would like to thank Dr. Sreeram Vishnu sir for the wonderful session. Thank you for letting us know various career opportunities in the agriculture extension in various organizations, which most of us don't know. You also discussed about what are the competencies we need to fit into the various positions. It's a pleasure to have you here, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Sreeram. Thank you, Sreeram.
Sir.
Nice to listen to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Actually, I shared my email in the chat box. If you are interested to know any more things from me, kindly don't hesitate to reach to me. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Hello, Suchi ma'am.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Sorry, I am in a bit of a place where I cannot open my camera today. Really apologize for that, and I hope you will consider the disruption.
It's okay, ma'am. Sure, ma'am. Sure. Yes, ma'am. Then shall we start the session?
Yes, let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, sir.
So,
Good evening, Suchi. Go ahead,
yeah.
Ravi.
Participants, welcome to the second part of our webinar series. We have Dr. Sucharadipta ma'am with us. She is Policy Engagement Specialist in International Water Management Institute, Anand. So, Dr. Sucharadipta Bhattacharya, she works with the water growth, inclusion and research team focusing on water governance and political economy. Before joining IWMI, she worked with the leading institutions such as MANAGE-CAEIRA and Indian Institute of Science, and also contributed as a core member of the Science, Technology and Innovation Policy. So she holds a PhD in Agriculture Extension from Central Agriculture University in Imphal, where her research focused on rural livelihood patterns among the tribal youth. She has been recognized with several prestigious fellowships and awards, including the DST STI Senior Policy Fellowship, Inspire Fellowship, and DORA Community Engagement Grant. With this short introduction, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Sucharadipta ma'am.
Thank you, Rahalya, for the kind introduction. Also, can you me the screen sharing rights, because right now I can't do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh yeah, I got that. Okay, let me know once you can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Great. Okay. Hi everyone. So that was a really kind introduction from Rahalya. So I won't be talking about myself. But I would like to know a little bit about you. So maybe if it's possible, I would ask you to um, scan this code. This will take you to mentimeter.com. But if you cannot scan, you can also go to mentimeter.com and type in the code that you can see below. That will take you to some questions. These are very short questions. You just have to type a word or two. So don't worry much about it, but just kind of, getting to know each other, know ourselves, and what you want to do in the future. So yeah, if you can do that.
It's Mentimeter.
It's Mentimeter, yes.
And also you can scan directly. It will, I think it moved to the Mentimeter app, I guess.
Yes, Rahalya. Yeah, it will take them to the Mentimeter app, website, whatever. Yeah, everyone is. Okay, so okay, could you all get to the Mentimeter and find the question?
They're asking to show the scanner again. Anyway, they can use code also, right?
Yes, yeah, sure. Here is the scanner. Because I can't see the screen, so Rahalya, please let me know once everyone is kind of comfortable and
Sure.
have got to the Mentimeter.
Someone is saying it's showing as time up, it seems.
Mhm. Oh, okay. Let me check. That should not be. Okay, let me stop sharing for a second and figure this out. How many of you could answer? How many of you could most of you actually respond to it, or you couldn't?
Yeah, people are replying like they're not able to answer it.
Haven't. Okay, okay. Can you try again? It should work right now. We couldn't answer. Okay, okay.
Yeah. I think they are not able to answer.
Okay, I'm not sure why this is happening. Um,
Otherwise, shall we talk directly with them?
yeah, sure, that could be another option. We can do kind of a chat
Yeah.
storm kind of thing. Where, so your first question was, what are you up to in your career at the moment? So are you a master's scholar, you are a PhD scholar, or you're an early career researcher? So that was the first question. So maybe you can do a chat storm, which means like, just type your answer to the chat box and we can get I can get an understanding of how many of you are at which stage of your career. Maybe we will take 1 minute to do this and then we will move on to the next question.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, PG completed. Okay, most of you are in PG. Oh, wow. Okay, I see someone who has been in the professional journey for 15 years. So that's great. Okay, so most of you are in PG as I see. What I'll do is I'll also type the next question in so it's easier for you to see and access. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, you can see the question and answer as well. I think that would
Yes,
also be
yes,
okay.
it's visible. Yeah, next question now.
Yeah, please move on to the next question. So basically what I'm trying to see here is, where do you see yourself making an impact in the next 10 years? Like you want to work at a grassroots level with the communities, maybe at a national scale, or you want to make impact right at the global level. So it's about your aspirations. Where do you see yourself? Mhm. National level, okay. I see most of you want to work at national level. Kajal wants to work at global level. From grassroots to global recognition. Well, that's inspiring. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. I think we are kind of saturated here for the second one. Yes. So when you hear the word agricultural extension, what comes to your mind? I think you have been asked that gazillion times, but yeah, just bear with me one more time. Bridging the gap, okay. Bridging the gap between what? Transformation, yes, absolutely love that. Big support structure, absolutely, yes. Technology transfer, yes. Lab talent, oh, that's yeah. Haven't heard it for a long time, but yes, absolutely, that's what we started with. Discussing different policy and explaining educating farmers. Do you think we can educate farmers? I mean, this is a question to reflect on. I don't want you to answer this, but when we do say that a lot, all of us are, I would say, quote unquote, guilty because I am using that word. But yeah, so we say educating farmers, but can we actually educate farmers? Community with gifts for everyone. Oh, I love that. Outreach, yes. Transition and innovation, yes. Connecting with farmers and helping them, solving their problems. Yes, absolutely. It's co-developing solutions, right? Okay. Yeah, for sure, with different tactics. I'm not sure what that is. Science of delivery. Oh, nice. Okay, let's move on to the last question, which is, yes, what global challenge are you passionate about solving with your research? Because most of you have said you are in your you have done your PG or you are doing your PG or final year of PG, and probably most of you are also looking forward to going to PhD if you are, but probably you are not as well. So whatever work actually this was my fault. I probably shouldn't have written research, but whatever you work you plan to do in the future, what are the challenges that you are most passionate about solving them? Is my screen still up? Can someone tell me?
It's visible, ma'am. It's in the what global challenges are you most passionate about solving with your research?
Okay, thanks, Rahalia. Income uncertainty, yes. Especially with the global, the income, it's not just about uncertainty, but also the global income inequity that we are seeing currently. Like all of the, I am given the responsibility today to talk about international carriers and all the international organizations. We do hear a lot about, working on income inequality, and the inequity in the system that actually brings in the income uncertainty, the income inequality, etc. So yeah, I'll be talking about that a little later. Food security, yes. Animal farming. Spaces, this is interesting. What would the alternate be like? I mean, yeah, animal farming has a lot of things going wrong about it, but maybe, you know, in the chat, if you can also type what you think the alternate would be, because there are also millions of smallholders across the globe, especially in the global south, who depends on animal farming. So where do we transition them? I think that's a question everyone is grappling with, especially, I mean, the national, international, local, everyone at every level, people are grappling with those questions. So yeah, if you have solutions of that too, some ideas, that would be great to hear. Temperature change, air, global warming, absolutely. Waste must be useful by people and could not destroy the nature. Yep, recycling, etc. Yeah. Also, these days you hear a lot about, especially in the international circle, you hear a lot about circular economy. So definitely, you know, recycling, reusing waste, but also especially in the sector that we are in, the agriculture sector, agri and allied sector. How do you talk about that? Okay, so these are really, really important you know, questions and important topics that you have identified. And interestingly, the global community, the international, the work that is being done at international organizations are mostly about that. And I think, yeah, let me go back to my slides. Yeah. So because I'll be again talking about, you know, international pathways or career pathways in international organizations, when we are coming from extension, it, from agricultural extension, agri and allied extension, how does that look like? So before going into directly into that, or what do we need to do, the skills that we need to inculcate, probably it is also important to understand what does this international organizations do, because that would decide you know, how do we shape our career, shape the work that we are doing, give it a direction, so that if we are interested to work with this organizations, we can do that. Also, most of you have said that you want to work at a national level. A couple of you have said global level, but most of you have said you want to work at a national level. And the thing about these international organizations is that they do work at, like, you know, it's the advantage that they have is they can cumulate, like they can take all the knowledge, all the learnings from different geographies, different countries, at a global level and talk about it. But end of the day, they also do work at national level, at local level, at grassroots level. In CGIAR, for example, uh, our work is right at the grassroots level. The advantage that we have is because we are spread across like multiple countries, multiple geographies, we can take all those learnings together, right? Interacting with that global community of researchers, of practitioners, of academicians, etc., gives us that understanding of what's happening, gives us that micro as well as macro view, you know, of what is happening at all levels. But end of the day, it is the grassroots level work, it is the national level work that's up. So I have to say that I was a little bit surprised when I saw that like very, very few responses saying that we want to work at the grassroots level. And coming from agricultural extension, that is a little bit surprising for me, because the core of agricultural extension is about, you know, connecting to farmers, connecting to the grassroots communities, co-designing solutions, co-learning. It is a little bit surprising to me. I have to say that. But nonetheless, it's important to also work at all levels. Well, I was saying, it's important to understand what this international organizations do. I mean, to be honest, they don't do anything very different than what organizations at national level does. But then, because they have the, you know, they have the advantage of getting that macro level view at a global scale of what things are, how things are happening, what's happening, etc. They also have the advantage of implementing those learnings at different levels, which means the kind of research which basically reflects into the kind of research that is being done in those organizations, the kind of strategies they decide for themselves, the kind of impact areas they identify. So if you are aware of CGIAR, we talk about impact areas. So we have identified, as you can see in this diagram, we have identified 5 major impact areas. Similarly, United Nations has their 17 the sustainable development goals. So all these organizations have their own strategies that they want to work with, because it helps. So FAO strategies are better life, better nutrition, better production, and better environment. And within that, they have also identified sub strategies, sub goals, etc., which they work on. And kind of end of the day, what all of these organizations, all of us try to do is try to tie them together, so that it's these efforts are not going in vain, or they are not very siloed, disconnected from each other, because we are talking about local to global development here. um so, uh, some of the things, again, like I'll go back to CGI. If you see here, just look at these diagrams and you will see the commonality across these organizations. So gender is something, food security is something, and these are areas why I was trying to understand which areas you want to create an impact on, is is to kind of also align your interests with the interest of these organizations, the strategies that these organizations, international organizations, has designed and devised for themselves. And if you see, you will see that what you have been talking about is also what is reflected in their own strategies. So food security, nutrition security, environmental health and biodiversity, climate change adaptation, these are the areas that most of these organizations are working on. It's FAO. Here is the World Bank Group, where they are talking about they work in 5 verticals, right? So people, prosperity, planet, infrastructure, and digital. So these are in one way or the other reflected in the other 2 as well. And I have just given three examples of CGIAR, FAO, World Bank, because these are some of the major organizations. SDGs of the United Nations, I haven't mentioned here, it is there, but also most of us are very familiar about it. So the idea behind sharing this is to help you understand where these organizations are going. And when you are trying to decide your research topic, the work that you are trying to design, the areas that you are trying to impact, the pathways that you are selecting for yourself, if you're aligning them with these, probably it kind of gives you a leg up in entering these organizations, because that's what they look at. Sorry, I'm going back and forth because I haven't organized my slides for that particular reason, because the whole sector, or all those institutions are also probably a little bit unorganized. So having said that, let me talk about the skills that is required. So definitely you need to identify areas that you work on, the impact pathways, ways that you want to design yourselves, which areas you want to work at, all of that. But that needs to be very directional. Along with that, there are also professional hard skills and soft skills that you need to develop, you need to work on. Technical skills, 100%, these are most important. And I joined the conversation when Sreeram was presenting, and the things that were pointed out, so most of them are same, like the technical understanding and the having a the core strength of that extension builds in us. Those are very important to have. It has been for me in CGIAR. I have spent cumulatively on and off about 4 or 5 years now, and what I understand, and I have been interacting with people also from other CGIAR institutions. We have projects with FAO, with World Bank, etc. And what I understand is that while the technical skills that extension gives are actually very well efforts, they are well respected and they are very much needed. um, I'm digressing a little bit, but last couple of months back, I was in the CGIAR Science Week that happened at the United Nations office in Nairobi. And there I was talking to someone, and now because my research work is mostly on water governance and political economy, and the work that I presented was also on that. Someone assumed uh, that I am from the political economy background, and we were having this long conversation, and like it came up that my background is agricultural extension, and they were really excited about it. Like they were like, "Oh, I didn't know," and this was someone who is in a senior leadership in CGIAR, not EME, but in CGIAR, and they got really excited knowing that there are people who have the skill sets that are required to understand how the extension system works, because that is one of the major focus areas that we are putting our efforts in. But they do not find enough people who have that background and that understanding that extension specifically brings. So brush up on your technical skills in extension and flaunt it. That's what I have been learning, because that's very, very important, that people are looking for that in these kind of organizations. Research and data analytics, definitely very important, because again, especially I have that CGI, because I'm in CGI institution, so I have that research focus, and that's why I'm a little bit biased towards it. If you are in probably in FAO, but in early career, it is always important to have that research and data analytics skills, because the work that you would be doing would, a lot of that, like would be focused on research, etc. And as early career researchers in such kind of organizations, uh, it is also the time that you, and time and space, that where you build yourself, right? You kind of develop your specific expertise and experiences, which will take you further in your career within these organizations, outside them, but those are the times. So it's important to build this, because when they are hiring, they also look for such skills. Thematic specialization is important, because again, agricultural extension or just extension is still broad, right? If we talk about social sciences, sociology, etc., these are broad areas, but where do you specialize in that? And that was one of the reasons why I was showing you the strategic interest areas or impact areas of these different organizations. So when you say you are interested in gender, they know where to put you. You say you are interested in governance, they know where to put you. So having those thematic specialization and having an understanding of which area and which theme you are building your specialization or expertise on is very important. So the research that you just decide right now, you plan to work on, the publications you are working on right now, identifying that specific thematic specialization is very, very important. Grant writing. So, well, even 3, 4, 5 years back, probably no one would be talking about grant writing to early career researchers and very young professionals, right? But now what I am seeing is things are changing fast. Like things are changing actually very fast, and grant writing, proposal writing are something that's very, very important. Why? Because it gives you that extra qualification that probably many of your peers do not have right now. 2 years down the line, the world is changing very fast, so probably 2 years down the line, everyone right out of their masters, or probably early in their PhD, would be having um, such kind of skills mentioned in their CV, etc. And it's very, very important, because when you work in such kind of organizations, these multilateral organizations, international organizations, how we work is based on funding, right? So while we are doing the research that we are doing, working on papers, etc., publications, etc., back of our head, it's always about how do I get in the money for my next research that I want to work on, right? So it's very important to know how to write those grants. And interestingly, there are so many opportunities right now. You don't need to work on like big grants. Obviously, I'm talking about smaller grants, which you can actually look for yourself as well. And I would encourage you to look into organizations like, the Pulitzer. The Pulitzers have their own funding. National Geographic has their own funding. So these are small grants, which would be about, let's say, 2,000 to 4,000 US dollars probably. But it would give you the opportunity to hone up those writing skills. That adds a massive leg up in your CV right now, if you can add that. But if you get that grant, if you're securing those kind of grants, then that shows the kind of um, the kind of ability that you have, and the work that you get to do, the network that you get access to through this kind of grants is amazing. It's just amazing. So I would encourage you to look for such kind of small $1,000 to $4,000 grants. Try to get them, because that would be massive for you at this stage. So these were about the hard professional skills. Soft skills, definitely, the communication, the stakeholder engagement, diplomacy. There are no courses probably to teach them to you, but then there are a lot of resources available online which talks about how do you develop those skills. And it's very important to do that, because when you are working in such kind of international organizations, one of the most important things that you do is build those networks, engage with those people. And these are basically, your it's not just about doing the work at that moment, but these relationships kind of last for a very long time, which would give you the opportunities, like really big breakthroughs in your career at a later moment, at a later point of time. So it's very important to have inculcate those soft skills. Problem solving, definitely it's needed in every profession, actually, not just this, or not just this sector. So I won't say anything specifically about this. Language proficiency, yes. So some of you have talked about how you want to work at a global level. So if you're working on so CGIAR, it basically, because also CGIAR engages in research, so they do not really encourage, I mean, I won't say it actively discourages, but it also doesn't very much encourage researchers from one region to travel to another, just to do some short study and publish and all of that. Why so? Because they also had the legacy of helicopter research a lot. So researchers from global north would come to the global south, and because of our colonized history in the global south, be it Africa, be it Asia, um, the language we speak are either, there is a English or French, basically some of the major languages that we speak. So it's very easy for them to come here, do the research, go back, publish, right? Where researchers from global south do not get that opportunity a lot. I'm digressing here a little bit, but I also think these are the things that we should be aware about. So in organizations like CGIAR, probably you will not have all of that, but UN organizations, FAO, World Bank, etc. They provide a lot of opportunity, especially to work in other regions if the position allows for that. But then you also need to be proficient in those 5 recognized languages, which is, I think, English is there, but I think there is French, Spanish, Arabic, and there is 2 other languages that I'm kind of missing at this point. So basically, there are these 5 UN languages, which any one you need to be proficient in. I think German is also one. You need to be proficient in to have to apply for such positions. So this would give you like having those languages in your kitty. That proficiency would actually give you again the extra, that extra nudge to explore and go beyond. Time management skill, again, like problem solving, it's something that you need everywhere. So probably it's not very specific to this sector, but also because of how we work, there's multiple projects running at the same time. The work that we do is also like very diverse. For each person, like right now I'm working on 5 projects which are like in 5 different areas. So it's very important to kind of manage my time. How do I prioritize the activities that I do? So those things become very important early, at the very early career. If you build those skills, it really takes you a long way in these international organizations. But I think, again, like I said, these are like same for almost all organizations. Lastly, I haven't mentioned it specifically because that's kind of it's kind of very implied, but also the background of the slide says it, is networking. So you need to invest a lot of your your time, your energy into networking, because that is really, really important in staying in such international organizations, and working well, bringing in the fund, doing the work that's needed, all of that. So networking ultimately is, I cannot overemphasize about networking and the developing the necessary skills for that. So I'll stop here, because there is, again, these are not organizations where you can write an exam and get into, or there is no prescription that I can give you to get into these organizations, other than look for vacancies, have their newsletters subscribed, try to understand what they are doing, build your career in a way that it kind of aligns with the strategic areas that these organizations are working on, and then when the positions open up, apply. But also network, because sometimes it's the networks also which gets you through into these organizations. So I'll stop here, and maybe I'll take some questions, because that would be more more interactive, and I can answer if you have any specific questions for me. So yeah, I'll stop here.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for an engaging session. Thank you for letting us know various career opportunities in international organizations and what skills needed. So the participants, if you have any questions regarding this session, you can keep in chat box, and also you can raise your hands. If you want to talk with the speaker also, you can unmute yourself and talk. Yeah, someone is asking about the biomass feedstock conversion.
Okay, what did you suggest in the field of waste to energy? Okay, actually, it's very interesting, and I see a lot of work being done right now. I think I mentioned before also about circular economy, and actually in CGIAR, what I'm seeing right now is one of the areas that gets the most fund is circular economy, because well, we have filled the world with waste, and now we need to think about how to manage that, right? And waste to energy, so biofuel, etc., these are actually getting a lot of attention, a lot of funding. um yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what your exact question is, but if you're asking if you should work in that area, I mean, I would say this is actually a very good area to work in right now.
Yeah. So Monica is asking, ma'am, please highlight some internship opportunities in international organizations.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, these organizations, so at EME, we frequently have this internship opportunities. So we do not have like uh, programs as such, but wherever there are some projects, etc., that we do, sometimes we have tie-ups with organizations. Like with IME's, our Anand office, we have a tie-up with IRMA, which is Institute of Rural Development. Yeah, I think right now it's Tribhuvan University. So anyway, so we have such kind of, and with Anand Agriculture University also we do that. So we take a lot of interns from there. Um, so yeah, so if you are interested, maybe send your CV to us. I'll also share my email. You can send your CV. So when we have our internship cycles going on, we can get back to you. But also, other than that, I would suggest that I would recommend that you check um, for all CGR organizations, check their websites, because if they have calls for internship, they will put it there. Similarly, it goes for other organizations like FAO, World Bank, etc., including many international NGOs as well, the INGOs that we talk about. So they also, multilateral organizations, they also have multiple calls for internship. So keep an eye on them. Subscribe to their newsletters. Actually, that's a very important, I mean, that's a very convenient way to get all the news in your inbox. You don't have to look for them. Sometimes you forget to look for them. So you kind of, it's an automatic process that you initiate, right? You don't have to put extra effort into that. So subscribe to those newsletters, etc., and apply for those. And yeah, yeah, do look for those. Internshala is a place where again are a lot of internships, etc. Are actually advertised. So you can look for them. But then I think most of these international organizations do it in their own website. So I think UN Jobs is another portal which you can subscribe to because they also post such kind of positions.
Yeah. So participants, still if you have any questions, you can ask. And if you want to talk with the speaker also, you can unmute yourself and talk. What advice would you give to someone who wants to choose between academia, government, or corporate roles?
I don't know what to say about that because it's totally on personal interest, you know. It's not that academia and these so if you are working in this kind of international organizations, research is a core part of it because end of the day we are evaluated based on how many research papers we have published. So once I'm in my promotion cycle, I'll be asked, the first question I'll be asked is how many research papers you have published and where have you published them. And I think Sreeram was also saying something in the similar lines that, you know, publishing regularly publishing is not just publishing, regularly publishing, but also publishing in valid platforms, Scopus index journals, etc. So those are very important. So ultimately, yeah, these are mostly international organizations, academia. Most of us, mostly what we do is research. The teaching part that varies. Yeah, but corporate probably works in a very different setup. And I also have very limited understanding of the corporate setup as such. So I probably am not the right person to comment on it. But yeah. But most of it is, you know, what drives us. I think if we have the opportunity to follow the passion and kind of go where our passion takes us, I would suggest that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's 5:30 already, so we shall conclude the session. So thank you participants for your questions. Still, if you have any questions or doubts regarding this session, you can contact the speaker. So the speaker details will be given in the chat box. And also if you want to watch this webinar, you can the YouTube link also given in the chat box. Along with this, if you want to know various career opportunities, and you can register for the upcoming webinar. So to receive interesting updates, scholarship, fellowships, internships, and programs conducted by Manage, stay tuned to our social media handles. Do not forget to follow us on social media. So before concluding the session, I would like to thank our speaker, Suchiradipta ma'am, for sharing valuable information with us. I know you are busy, but still you took time to interact with the students. And also I would like to thank our director, Dr. Saranandra sir, for organizing this webinar. Thank you all participants for your active engagement. Do not forget to register for the upcoming webinar. The link is shared in the group. So see you tomorrow with another topic. Yeah, thank you, Suchi ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks, Rahalya. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you all. Bye.